Ammo prices just crashed harder than anyone expected. Shelves are stacked, prices are dirt cheap, and everyone's acting like the ammo shortage days are officially over. I'm Luke from Line45, and today we're digging into why this ammo price crash isn't what you think, what's really driving these too-good-to-be-true deals, and how this could be the setup for the next big shortage nobody's ready for. Before we dive in, do me a solid. Smash that subscribe, tap the bell, hit all the dang buttons down there. You don't gotta. But it keeps this train rolling and lets me crank out more of this wild gun talk for y'all. Alright, enough of that. Let's get back to it. The crash nobody saw coming. I walked into my local shop and the sticker shock was upside down. 9mm case prices are showing mid-20 cents per round again, and 5.56 is hovering around the high 30 seconds in a lot of listings I'm tracking. Numbers we haven't seen in years. You can literally find 1,000 round 9mm cases posted around $245, which pencils out to roughly 24.5 cents a pop. That isn't a clearance end cap at one store, it's broad-based. Aggregators and large e-commerce houses are consistently showing cheap FMJ in stock across common calibers, with 5.56 offers dipping below 40 cents and plenty of 9mm at 20-something. If you lived through 2020 to 2021, you remember when those same SKUs were 4 times the price and sold out in minutes. The difference now is inventory depth. Pallets are landing, and they're not vanishing overnight. Here's the baseline I'm using for the rest of this video, so we're all on the same page. For bulk ball ammo in late 2025, a realistic street snapshot looks like this. 9 miles FMJ, commonly in the $0.23 to $0.28 band per round from major retailers. 5.56 FMJ, commonly in the $0.36 to $0.42 band, depending on brand and lot size. That's not cherry-picked loss leaders. That's what a normal buyer sees after shipping promos. I'll show you why those numbers are possible right now, and why they're fragile once the current surplus burns down and trade policy finishes rolling through. Factories gone wild. Here's what I'm seeing when I trace the supply side. During the 2000 and 2022 crunch, US makers poured money into capacity. Remington's Lanoke plant came back online under new ownership and quickly scaled headcount to roughly 1,000 plus, running around the clock. Winchester took over operations at the Lake City Army ammunition plant and maintained a massive surge footprint. Lake City's average output sits in the hundreds of millions of cartridges per year, with a documented surge capacity up to about 1.6 billion. When demand cooled, that bigger machine didn't shrink overnight. It kept spitting out product and bleeding into the commercial channel. Imports added another layer. South Korea's export flow of small arms ammunition and components into the US climbed again by 2024, and Brazil-owned and Czech brands continued pushing volume into American distributors. Think PMC from Korea, Magtech from the CBC Group in Brazil, and Cellier and Bello from the Czech side. On top of that, consolidation moved pieces around. Vista's ammo brands were spun into the Kinetic Group and sold to CSG, while Colt CZ moved to acquire Cellier and Bello. Those deals weren't about shrinking. They were about locking in scale and channels, which keeps the pipeline fat even when US range traffic softens. Put those together and you get a classic oversupply picture. Higher US factory throughput plus steady import flow equals warehouses that need to turn. Distributors lean on rebates and per-case discounts to clear pallets, and retailers follow with below-trend shelf pricing to keep cash moving. None of that requires a conspiracy. Its capacity was built for a panic year, running into a normal year, and the price board is the pressure relief valve. Foreign flood and tariff game. I watched import flow pick up before summer, and it wasn't subtle. Bosnia's Igman reported record export revenue in 2024 and flagged additional outbound lots mid-year. US Customs data shows arms and ammo imports measured in the billions for 2024, and the usual foreign players were active. PMC out of South Korea, Magtech from Brazil's CBC Group, and Cellier and Bello from the Czech Republic. That mix lined up with what I saw on retailer shelves here. Steady arrivals, broad brand spread, and fewer stockouts week to week. Why the rush? Washington set a new reciprocal tariff scheme in April 2025 and then kept adjusting timelines. There was a baseline duty layer plus country-specific rates, and the clock mattered. The White House orders and the Federal Register entries laid out implementation windows, and by July, the deadline slid to early August. Importers did the logical thing and cleared cargoes ahead of the higher rate dates. That is exactly when cases started getting priced to move, because landed costs looked better on pre-deadline inventory. South Korea, the EU, Japan, and a few Southeast Asian partners negotiated lower outcomes compared to the initial talks, but not zero. Politico's July 31 recap put typical post-deal rates in the mid-teens to about 20% for those partners, with higher bands reserved for countries that didn't cut a deal. Net effect for ammo buyers here is simple math. Once the negotiated rates apply across new lots, imported ball loses some of its pricing edge unless the exporter or the US distributor eats margin. The pre-tariff and pre-deadline pallets are the ones making today's sticker look friendly. One more structural note. Consolidation kept Europe to US channels warm. Colt CZ closed on Cellier and Bellow in 2024, and CSG finished acquiring the Kinetic Group in the same quarter. Bigger groups mean predictable export cadence and US distribution already wired in. When supply chains unclog and policy windows open, those firms can push volume fast. That is the foreign flood you're seeing on the price board right now. The real trap. The surplus that's making the 9mm and 5.56 look friendly is finite. Once the pre-tariff pallets and overbuilt 2020 to 2022 production runs clear, the next lots carry higher landed costs and slower lead times. Importers already had to front-load shipments ahead of new reciprocal tariffs in 2025. When those windows closed, the math on foreign ball got tighter, and distributors stopped racing each other to the bottom. Cheap cases today don't guarantee cheap cases next quarter. Input costs aren't cooperating either. Copper spent Q3 flirting with modern records, and it's still elevated, which hits jackets, cases, and wire. Explosives and propellants remain a global choke point. Europe's nitrocellulose shortfall is measured in the thousands of tons because artillery production is chewing up feedstocks, and US suppliers feel that they can address this shortfall through higher prices and rationed allocations. That filters straight into primers and powder availability. If you reload, you already know primers didn't follow 9mm down. Factory ammo can ignore that for a minute with rebates and margin compression, but not forever. Political risk stacks on top. Election cycles, state-level rulemaking, or high-visibility incidents can flip demand in a week. We've seen ranges go from quiet to packed, and web inventory go from plenty to gone with one headline. The Russian ammo import ban never came back, so that old pressure relief valve is still closed. Meanwhile, Lake City stays focused on government programs first. When federal orders expand, commercial flow gets thinner. That combination is how you jump from clearance pricing to back order without a long runway. Here's how I'm treating it. I buy steadily at the current floor and keep a real buffer based on my usage. I don't assume today's sticker sticks once the tariffed shipments and higher commodity inputs roll through the system. No panic, no hoarding. Just disciplined adds while the surplus lasts, because the trap is thinking this calm is the new baseline. Smart buy or setup. Here's how I'm playing it so I don't get cooked later. I set hard buy targets and stick to them. For range fuel, my floor is mid 20 cents per round on 9mm FMJ and around 40 cents on 5.56 FMJ. If I see it at or under those marks from a legit retailer, I grab a case. If it's higher, I pass and wait for the next dip. Dollar cost averaging keeps me from chasing spikes or trying to time bottoms. One case at a time, steady. No cap. That rhythm beats panic buys every single cycle. I split purchases by purpose. Training gets bulk FMJ in the cheapest, most reliable brand I trust in my guns. Carry and home defense get premium loads in smaller lots, and I test a fresh box every time I change lot numbers. I confirm function, check the point of impact at my zero distance, and run a short chrono string to make sure velocity is in the published window. I keep at least 2 spare boxes of my defensive load per firearm ready to go. If those hit the shelf at a fair price, I top off. I don't expect big discounts there, so I don't wait forever. Storage is boring, but it's where money gets saved. I use gasketed cans, a couple of desiccant packs per can, and I label by caliber, brand, grain weight, and lot. Cool and dry is the rule. I aim for indoor temperatures and relative humidity in the 30 to 50% band. Rotate first in, first out, so the oldest gets shot first. Properly stored, modern ammo stays serviceable for decades. That protects the value of what you're buying right now. Reloading is a case-by-case call. With primers still pricey, the math on 9mm and 5.56 often fails against current bulk deals unless you already have components. I reload where it actually saves money or where I need a specific match load. Everything else, I buy when the numbers pencil and keep the buffer tight to my real use. The wake-up call. The way I see it, this price window is like a limited run. I keep a real buffer tied to my use, not a guess. 2 years of my average round count is my floor, and I replace what I shoot, so the stack never slides. I buy steady when 9mm and 5.56 hit my target bands, and I skip the hype. I don't chase weird calibers I'll never shoot. Defensive loads get topped off when I see my exact carry SKU in stock. That's the system. Simple, repeatable, low stress. I also watch the signals that actually move prices. Trade policy shifts matter because new tariff layers raise landed costs on future import lots. Commodity pressure matters because copper, lead, and powder feed directly into the unit cost. Primer availability is still a swing factor for reloaders and for factories managing total output. Government demand matters because Lake City and similar capacities prioritize contracts before the commercial channel. Any one of those tilting the wrong way can tighten the supply fast. You don't need headlines to know what to do. You need a plan you can execute, whether the sticker is up or down. So here's the move. Build the buffer while the shelves are friendly, verify your defensive loads by lot, and lock in storage that protects what you paid for. No panic, no hoarding, just disciplined adds while the math still works. If the market stays soft, fine, you're stocked at good numbers. If it hardens, you're already covered, and you keep training like normal. That's how you stay ready without getting played by the cycle.